Hello, I'm Brianna Granadero, and I'm with Husky TV, and today we have a very important and special guest, Commander Michel Falzone. Hello, Commander Michel
Hello,
Falzone.
Brianna.
So tell us about your job.
I'm the commanding officer of LCS Crew 102 in San Diego, California. But more importantly, we are embarked in the USS Fort Worth. It's the littoral combat ship that is named after the city of Fort Worth.
Whoa, about that, what type of ship is the USS Fort Worth?
Well, it's one of the Navy's newest ships. It's a littoral combat ship, which means it can operate in the littorals, which are the shallow waters near the coast. And because it's a combat ship, it's also got guns and armament, and we can go really fast.
Sounds fun. Well, if you're going fast, did you ever get any seasick?
Well, not on the littoral combat ship, but I have been seasick before. When I first joined the Navy, I had to get my sea legs, and once I got my sea legs, seasickness wasn't a problem anymore.
That's good. Well, what is it like living on a ship?
Well, it's like living where you work and where you eat and then where you sleep, all in one. So if you can imagine being in a building where you have a galley that you eat in, kind of like your lunchroom cafeteria, and then you have your own room that you sleep in, and then you have an office to work at. But we also have other creature comforts that we like we have a gym on board the ship, and we drive the ship from a place called the Bridge. So it's quite unique experience.
Oh, that's wonderful. How did you become a commanding officer?
Well, it was a long process. It's actually 19 years for me to get where
goodness.
I am today. So once I graduated college, I was commissioned as an officer in the Navy, and I learned to drive ships. I had to do a bunch of different qualifications in order to achieve this pin right here, which means that I'm a ship driver. So I had to learn to drive the ship just out in the open ocean. I had to learn to drive the ship alongside a pier. And then one of the most unique things that our Navy does is when we can't pull into port to get gas, we actually have oilers or tankers that we drive up. They're in the ocean, and we drive up alongside them.
Okay.
And we put lines over, and we get gas, kind of like you do your car at the gas
station.
Yes.
That's fun because it's in the water.
It is, but it takes a lot of skill. We also learn how to anchor the ship and do a lot of other ship handling evolutions. And then after that, I had to prove that I could lead my sailors. So I did that as a division officer and then again as a department head. And then I went through a very rigorous screening process, and I was lucky to be chosen to be a commanding officer. But first I had to be the executive officer, which is the second in command of the ship. And I did that for about a year, and then I got to be the commanding officer.
Well, that's great. What do these other pins here mean?
So these are my medals that I've won. So both the lower ones are usually ones that the unit I've been assigned to has been awarded. And then the top ones are my personal awards that I've gotten for specific achievements that I've done in the Navy. So,
what are those specific achievements?
Well, a couple of those were being very good at my job. I was the instructor of the year when I was a teacher at a school.
Oh, wow.
I'm actually a nuclear trained officer, so I taught at the Navy's nuclear prototype in New York, and I enjoyed my students. I enjoyed being an instructor, and I think it's shown through in my work, and I was selected as the instructor of the year. Another of those awards was being the best engineer in the Navy for the year 2002. So, but that's another award. And then other ones were just for doing my job very well and working very hard. I was rewarded with these awards here.
Nice. You have quite a bit. Well, who or what inspired you to become a commanding officer or to join the Navy?
Okay, I come from a very military family.
Oh.
My father was actually in the Army, but his family is very Navy-centric. My grandfather served in World War II, and then my dad has 12 brothers and sisters.
Wow.
And most of his brothers served in either the Navy or the Marine Corps. So, and I chose to go into the Navy because I needed a way to pay for college. So the Navy actually gave me a full scholarship to Vanderbilt University.
What is your favorite part about your job?
My favorite part about my job is that I get to be around wonderful sailors all day long. So the people that work for me are some of the best people. They come from all over the United States, and they're just hardworking individuals. And every day I get to go be a part of the USS Fort Worth and the team that sails on board her.
So you've definitely made some really good friendships that
Well, I wouldn't say that we're friends because I'm still
Oh,
their boss, but
yeah.
I do have some really good friends. And I have some really good sailors that work for me.
Mhm.
So.
Well, where have you traveled? Because you.
Oh, in my 19 years, I have traveled to many, many places.
Oh, wow.
So the first places I went were in the Caribbean and South America. So I've been to Puerto Rico, Haiti, Cuba, Panama, Colombia,
Oh
Ecuador,
my goodness.
and that was just on one ship.
Yeah.
And then let's see, on my second ship, I went to Hong Kong, Singapore, Australia, two places in Australia actually.
Hello, mate. Oh, sorry.
And one of those was Tasmania, and I got to see Tasmanian devils. So
Wow.
yeah, it's not quite at all like the cartoon one, by the way.
Oh.
On my third ship, we went all around the Mediterranean, and I've been to Spain, Portugal, Italy, Greece, the United Kingdom, and very interesting on that ship, we went through the Turkish Straits into Russia.
Russia.
And then
I can't do a Russian accent.
And then we also got to operate off the coast of Western Africa in the Cape Verde Islands, Ghana, and Benin. So that was my third ship. My fourth ship, not so exciting.
How many ships?
I've surfed on 5 ships so
5,
far.
okay.
So, and then my fourth ship, we didn't do anything really exciting. We did go through the Suez Canal, and we got to go to the UAE 3 times, so for port visits. And then my fifth ship was the USS Fort Worth, where we went. We started out in Singapore, and then we went to the Philippines, Indonesia, Malaysia, Bangladesh, and India. So
Wow.
all kinds of different places.
Yeah. Well, out of all of those places, what was your favorite?
Oh, that's really, really tough.
Yeah, they sound amazing.
Probably Australia.
Australia. Hey, the one I did an accent for. I think they're great. Okay. So, what is exciting or challenging about your job?
I think what's challenging about my job is that every day, even though there's a lot of things that are routine, there are a lot of things that are very different. So when we're operating on a ship, there's a lot of machinery, and something can always go wrong, and you never know when that's going to happen. So being able to think fast and solve problems is probably the most challenging part of the job.
Oh. As a woman, what challenges have you had to overcome to get to where you are today?
Oh, that's a very interesting question, and I actually get asked this question a lot. And I'm proud to say that I think our military service is very good about the integration of men and women together.
Okay.
And in my 19 years of service, I've really not had many challenges. I think that they're very good at treating me like they would a male officer. So I really don't think that the gender plays a role in how far I've come.
So when you were in middle school, did you know what you wanted to be?
When I was in middle school, I think I still wanted to be a doctor because I didn't know that we could drive ships. Like I said, my father was in the Army, so I didn't really understand too much about the Navy at the time. But as I got older, I learned more about it, and it got me really interested in driving ships.
Wow. Well, this isn't so relevant to you being a commanding officer, but what electives did you take in middle school?
What electives? Well, like you, I had 8 periods, and I don't remember everything I took, but I was in band, and I was in the math club, and I was part of Science Olympiad when I was in middle school.
Well, that sounds fun. Kept you busy?
Yes, very busy.
Well, that's all the questions we have for you today. Thank you so much for coming in. It was such an honor to interview you.
Well, thank you. It was my pleasure.
No problem.